So I'm Rob Marchant, and I coordinate the York Institute for Tropical Ecosystems, otherwise known as KITE. Within KITE, our work is largely focused in East Africa, and we combine sort of palaeoecology, so that's an understanding of the past ecology of ecosystems, with present-day sort of biogeography, understanding present-day patterns and process within ecosystems, and also trying to use that information to then launch into and develop appropriate models of the future, both in terms of resource use, so how people are using their ecosystems and how that's likely to develop, but also in terms of climate change models. There's a lot of concern and interest around global climates, how they're changing, what the anthropogenic, the human-induced signals are, and how that then would impact on agricultural production, species ranges, extinction in the most extreme cases. But obviously we need to understand what's happened through history to really understand and put in context those future challenges and changes which we're experiencing. To really go back through history, we need to take what they call a palaeoecological approach, and that's taking cores of sediment from locations like lakes and bogs, and then reconstructing past ecosystems back through thousands of years to really then understand how those ecosystems have changed in terms of their distribution, in terms of their composition, and in their structure, and how the human interaction with those ecosystems has also changed as initially people migrated into East Africa. As they migrated in, they brought in crops, new technologies, particularly iron, pastoralism, with the onset of sort of goats and sheep. And obviously they've had a major impact on shaping the composition and distribution of present-day ecosystems in East Africa.
My research is on assessing past, present, and future ecosystem, climate, and human interactions in East African savannas. And specifically, I'm interested in assessing the levels of grazing and sedentarization in East African savannas. And why East African savannas? East African savannas have been used by the pastoral communities for many, many years. And over time, they've been changing, like from the pastoral livelihoods, they've now started embracing more sedentary livelihoods like agriculture and farming and agropastoralism, and also the level of social economic development in savanna has been growing up very rapidly, and also the human population. So I would actually want to see how that has been playing out with time using models. Specifically, I'm interested in using vegetation models and also social ecological models. The time period for my work will be from 1500 to present, 2015, and extending all the way to 2100. So the reason why I'm interested in going back in time is for me to be able to assess the interactions that actually happened in the past and are happening currently, and from that interaction to be able to project into the future by creating several scenarios. For the future, what I'm actually interested in is I'm trying to use the past and the present to like sort of project into the future, and from the interactions between human beings and the environment in the past, I would actually want to see if I can use that interaction and to project into the future. And this is because future predictions in East Africa, they predict that rainfall patterns will change. For example, the IPCC in 2007 has predicted that, and also temperatures are projected to change in the future. And of course, this is actually going to impact human beings who are also projected, their population is projected to rise in the future. So it's actually very, very important for us to know possible directions and trends of the future.
Research is focused on assessing how wildlife in the Eastern Arc is affected by land use change. So the Eastern Arc mountains run through East Africa and they contain lots of pristine rainforest, but unfortunately it's becoming very degraded and a lot of it's been converted into agricultural land use. Some of these agricultural lands are traditional agroforests that are actually quite diverse and contain a lot of rainforest trees and can be quite good for wildlife, but some of the land is getting converted into more intensive cropland and plantations, which may have quite serious negative effects on wildlife in the region. So my research at the moment is looking at bird communities within the Eastern Arc, specifically looking at how they respond to agricultural land use change. One of the things that is really important to do when you're looking at ecological communities is to try and look at some of the functional traits of those species that determine how they respond to change. So we're trying to classify birds according to some of their behavioural and ecological traits, such as how much they depend on forest habitat, what kind of food they eat, whether they're insectivorous or whether they're frugivorous, eating fruits. And then we're looking at how they respond to change of forest into agroforestry or cropland. Really the point of this research is to try to determine which groups or guilds of birds are most likely to be threatened by future land use change, and potentially to determine whether traditional agroforestry can act as a kind of reservoir for forest species that are getting threatened when the real pristine forest is getting lost.